this quote from Saint Jose Maria Ezervia came across my path, and it says, "When you decide to lead a clean life, chastity will not be a burden on you. It will be a crown of triumph." Mm-hmm. And when I looked up a little bit more about this Saint Jose Maria, he's known to be a saint who is known for helping all people obtain sanctity in their ordinary lives, and their ordinary work. And I thought that was almost a summary of a summary, because in a sense, I think what came to me in this chapter is that these teachings, John Paul II goes over Christ's teachings. He said, these are normative. Mm-hmm. And you had mentioned that, these are for all time. This is what Jesus was saying at the time when he was walking on the earth, but they're for our time and across all cultures. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was very powerful for me, because when you look around our society, many seem to struggle with chastity and purity of heart. We know that pornography is at an all-time high. The youth, because of the different ways medias are presented, our youth are struggling with staying innocent. So there's all of that. So to me, recognizing that it is with Christ's grace, with God's grace, that we can. This is normative. God gives us this, and that we can obtain it. So we must man must open himself up to the life of the Spirit in order to share in an evangelical purity of heart. Again, it's just constant. John Paul II, through this long section, we said it's probably the longest section, he goes over and over with a fine-tooth comb to encourage us that we can, through the help of God, obtain this purity of heart in order to find again and realize the value of the body freed by redemption from the bonds of concupiscence. So back when I've been married 35 years, so there's definitely different times in our family life that we have ups and downs, strengths and weaknesses. And I wanted to point this out kind of strongly, because sometimes you'll hear something and it gives you that hope, it gives you that strength, and it might just be a line. There was a time where we were really struggling, and someone sent us a podcast, and it was, "We can do hard things." And in my life then, that became just something that when I was in a struggle, I could say, we can do hard things, and I would say it out loud, and I'd find that our body language just that stronger. We can do hard things. So I just want to say we can have a purity of heart, and God will give that to us. So the goal is God, and we just have to really try to keep a consistent prayer life, and God will continue to pour into us.
We need to have a code word. Every time I'm struggling, I just call you and you say, "You can do hard things."
Yes, I love it. It's powerful.
Because I thought this audience was super hopeful as well. Yeah. And I love that he ended on this note, because I feel like it's really easy to fall into despair. Yeah. And to be like, well, Adam and Eve messed it up, and so we were born with this concupiscence, so we're going to be fighting it our entire life. I mean, you can quickly just go downhill. Yes. Right. And I think what the message is saying, like, no, this is realistic for you. Yes. Like, he is not trying to get us back to, like, pre-fall, original innocence. He's trying to give us a path forward. Exactly. Right? And so we're never going to be pre-fall. But we also have this path that we can take to sanctity, like your quote. And so, I think we just have to avoid those terms of like, well, this is just who I am, or I'm always going to struggle with this, because those are words from the devil. Those are words of despair. The devil wants you to believe that, no, you can't do hard things. This is too hard. You were born, with this, and so you're never going to overcome it. Like, those are the things we have to call out, right? Yes. And the good news is that, like, especially when we are, like, married, we have a partner to help us with this self-mastery.
Thank goodness.
And so, you could look at it as two ways. Like, you have a constant temptation or you have a partner to help you over it. And I don't know if you guys have always, have ever, like, gone on a diet or tried to give something up and your partner didn't do it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I gave up dairy for 30 days. And I looked at Brent and I was like, look, you have to do this with me, because if you eat cheese, which is like what I love, I was like, if you eat queso and pizza and ice cream every night, I'm never going to do it. And so, like, us doing it together helped us, right? And so I would have never been able to do it. I'm on day 29. Okay, I don't know what's going to happen when I eat that first bowl of ice cream.
Oh, wow, right. That could be interesting.
But we did it together. And so,
awesome.
like, we knew it was kind of a form of self-mastery, right? Like, we could do it together. We could support each other. So I really think it helps to have, like, a support system.
Oh, 100%.
And it also just helps to know that it is possible. Like, I researched it, and there were people that had no dairy for longer than 30 days, right?
It can be done.
Good for the research.
So you have to just remember, that hope comes from knowing who we are and how we were made, and then that leads to a more perfect discovery of the dignity, in this case, of our bodies. Okay, and so really what he's talking about is that spousal meaning. And on page 278 of the commentary, Christopher West says, "This is the body's great dignity. It incarnates God's mystery, which is love. Man's vocation is to love as God loves, and it is revealed through the spousal meaning of his body." And so after I read that, like you said, Patty, I kind of have to sit with it for a little bit, but I couldn't stop thinking about the term "to make love." And really, when you think about it, you can make love in two different ways that look exactly the same on the outside. And they reflect like life according to the flesh and life according to the spirit. And that's what makes them different on the inside. And so, like, man and woman were made in God's image. They have a spousal meaning to their bodies. Their bodies are different yet complementary, right? And so, if God is love and he invites man and woman to make love, he's inviting them to make more of himself, right? And then the opposite is also true. So when a man and woman do the act of making love, but they don't actually do it with a purity of heart, they do it the opposite of love, right? The same act has a completely different meaning because the opposite of love isn't hate, it's use. And so that's exactly what happens when a man and a woman do not love each other totally, faithfully, fruitfully. Those are the marriage vows you make if you got married in a Catholic church. And so they use each other instead of making love. And so I really, go back to that thesis statement, kind of wrap this whole section up, is man finds himself through a sincere gift to himself. Therefore, he can never find himself through use. Right?
Right.
That's exactly it.
So,
Yeah.
that's all I got.
Wow. Well, that
That was good. That
fabulous.
Was
I have so many songs right through my head. Anyway, I'm not going to start singing those songs, but I loved, both of your reflections were so great. And I think, the main feeling I felt after this audience was just joy, pure joy. How amazing that it is possible to attain purity of heart on this side of the fall. And there were a couple of quotes that really stuck out to me. One was John Paul II writes, "It is the purity of the man of concupiscence." First of all, just purity of a man of concupiscence. That is amazing that's real. But he says, "Who is nevertheless inspired by the word of the gospel and open to life according to the Spirit. That is the purity of the man of concupiscence who is completely enveloped by the redemption of the body achieved by Christ." Oh, I just love that word, those words, completely enveloped. We just let it be done. Let it be done to me, right? That is life according to the Spirit, opening yourself to him. Wow, that just popped in my head, the whole fiat thing. That just came into my head right now. But to be enveloped by what Christ has already done for us. That's all we're called to do, right?
Yeah.
And then another piece that I really loved, what is all this for, right? Why do we want purity of heart? What is the goal of self-mastery? And so he writes later, "The satisfaction of the passions is, in fact, one thing, Quite another is the joy a person finds in possessing himself more fully, since in this way he can also become more fully a true gift for another person. And I was just reflecting kind of on my own experience, of trying to like satisfy myself all the time. I mean, it's easy to do that, to give in all the time to whatever you think is going to satisfy your heart, whatever that looks like. That's an easy thing to do, but it did not lead to happiness.
Right.
It led to like a brief moment maybe of like kind of numbing out or, not really feeling deeply whatever I might have been going through, but then followed by shame, remorse, feeling much worse for sure. It definitely did not lead to joy. And I know that for me, until I was able to start letting go of all those attachments and addictions and just chasing after what I wanted, that I was able to discover my true self and to be a gift to another person. I do not do it perfectly, I'll have you know, but I have absolutely experienced that progressive healing, over time, which is, it's awesome. And like the deeper you go, the more you desire it, the more you want that in your life. So I'm just so grateful for the journey of recovery and the redemption, that Christ offers. It's such a gift. So thank you guys for your beautiful reflections. So